G'day, it's Pete here, and I'm back for day 2 report of the APBF Bridge Championship. And today I didn't only want to look at the Australian teams, I wanted to highlight New Zealand as well for our friends across the ditch. So I'm going to go through the Open, Ladies, Seniors and Mixed teams. I've also got a couple of hands that were really interesting that I wanted to highlight at the end, and one sort of bidding problem which the vast majority of most fields struggle to do. So I wanted to see if you can work out how you and your partnership would actually try and bid this one. But let's jump into it and have a look at how everyone was doing. So we're now starting day 3, which is these ones. But if we look at the mixed, Australia's doing fantastic. We're up into second. We finished with a really big win over Japan, but we also won our critical match against China, which was a really strong team. They aren't performing quite well right now, but they're definitely a strong team, so keep an eye on them. So we're really happy with those 2 wins. We also had a small loss against Thailand. New Zealand has been struggling a bit, but they've finally hit some form. They finished with a really big win over the Philippines, so that was really good to see. So glad to see that they're making their track up the ladder there. In the seniors team, there's 3 teams. We've got Australia B, Australia A, and New Zealand. They're all doing quite well, especially Australia B. They're in a fantastic position. They just finished with a max win over Korea, getting the full 20, and so did Australia A over Thailand. New Zealand also finished with a decent win over Japan. But throughout the day, New Zealand also beat Thailand and Indonesia A, sorry. And Australia A also beat Hong Kong B, and Australia B has beaten Singapore and Indonesia B. So fantastic results for all the seniors team. They're moving their way up the ladder there. Then the ladies team, it was a tough day for both teams. So they were both struggling. You're going to have these days, but New Zealand did finish with a good win against Korea. So they're both sort of in the middle of the pack. So we're hoping for a better day from them today. But we'll see what happens. And then finally in the Open, both teams are doing great. Australia is actually undefeated still. We've won all 5 of our matches, and including those, we have played Singapore, China and New Zealand to date yet, so they're in a really good spot. New Zealand also had a good day today, winning 2 matches and having a draw, so against Chinese Taipei, but they're moving up the ranks and positioning themselves well. So that's where all our teams are doing right now. So the hands that I wanted to bring up, there's a couple just highlighting a bit about signalling. So here's an interesting hand from our match against China. Jody Tutty brought home 3 spades doubled. So for this, the auction went 1 diamond by north, pass 2 clubs by west. Jody got in there with 3 spades, which got doubled. And the opponents led the ace of hearts, but they're playing high in courage, so this was an unfortunate time to have singleton 3. But Jody also did well by trying to hide the position by not playing her lowest heart. She put in the 8, which made it a little bit harder for them to read what's going on. Now, if they do continue hearts, we can actually go for 500 on this board, but they didn't read the position, so they switched to a diamond, and now that gives Jody a chance, and she got in, took her chance. She wanted to draw trumps, and she played the ace of spades and then the queen of spades, pinning that jack to bring home the juicy score of 730. So that was a really cool hand that I wanted to highlight. And this next one was from the Australia-New Zealand match, which was actually on day 1, but Michael Wibley brought this hand showing, highlighting something Sataj Hans did, which was just subtle but like really good. So East-West got to 3 no trumps, and Sataj sitting north. The queen of spades was led. He put on the ace, and now he returned the 2. The way that they actually play is after they've won an honour, they try and tell their partner what sort of count they've got. And if they started with 3 cards, they'd play a high card and then a low card. And if they started with, say, 4 cards, they'd play low and then high. So here's false card. He's done the wrong thing, in a sense, in that he knows that his side of the partnership, he's got all the points and his partner's basically broke. So he doesn't actually need to signal accurately here. But anyway, East saw the 2 of spades and could now work out that spades are either 4-4 or 6-2. In either case, he wanted to protect against spades being 6 with south, so got in and played ace of clubs, king of clubs, 10 of clubs, happily losing a club, but knowing that if North won, they could only take 3 spades in total if the 2 of spades was a correct card. But the Sitage had a spade still left and could play it, which got overtaken to lead to a game swing. So a really subtle false card, but one I wanted to highlight. And then finally, the bidding problem. Here, East-West have a really good slam to actually bid. But how would your partnership actually bid this one? If the auction starts with pass, do you open the East cards? You've got an 11 count 441. I think it's likely that most people opened this at favourable, but if it goes 1 club and South bids a diamond, West can bid a spade, North can bid 2 diamonds, probably, in most cases, and East will bid 2 spades most likely. But how would you keep going from this? How do you actually try and investigate slam in this spot? Because most pairs managed to miss this, but it was a really, really good slam, so an opportunity went begging across pretty much all the fields. About a quarter of the pairs at most actually bid this one, and I think it's actually less than that. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this report from day 2, and if you've got any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to highlight other things, different players, things about the venue, anything you want to know, let me know and I'll try and get to it at some stage. I did have a question about the penalties that are happening. So if we jump in and look, you can see there's a couple of penalties in the seniors. In the mix there's quite a fair bit. Ladies there's a few, and the open there's actually none. These penalties are pretty much all for slow play. So we get 2 hours to play 14 boards, which is a fair amount, but it's also behind screens, and this is a serious event that people are playing particularly carefully, so that slows it down. And if you finish between 0 and 5 minutes late, that is a 1 VP fine. And if you finish between 5 and 10 minutes late, that's 1.5 VP fine, shared between the 2 teams. And the blame can be allocated separately, but that is a possibility. So most of these are just for slow play. And my thoughts are, I'm happy to cop a slow play fine because if the boards need it and you're taking your time, it's alright. I don't want my pairs to rush near the end because it's a lot easier to throw more than what the penalty will be if you try and rush these hands. So hopefully they'll just play in a timely fashion and not reach these penalties, but if they are getting close to it, I don't want them to rush. You don't want to feel that pressure to do that, just keep playing it there, right? And also for today's view graph matches, the ladies are actually playing right now, Australia ladies versus China. The next match, which is 12:30 our time and this time for different locations, is Australia B seniors versus China. And we've got none in the third match at 3 o'clock, and the New Zealand seniors are playing at 5:30. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this report, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.